Salut les petits lapins! As you may have noticed, I have been thinking a lot about tiramisu lately and came out with this gorgeous tiramisu charlotte. And guess what? As the holidays approach, I strike again with this fabulous tiramisu Yule log, bûche de Noël. That might not be the original recipe, but you know what? When it tasted as good as it looks, who cares? Mamma mia! Alright, let's get to work. So first, I am going to roll out some of my saved chocolate crust into a 3mm thick sheets, freeze for about 30 minutes and cut into desired shape. So for my Yule log, for instance, I'm going to cut out a rectangle that matches the size of the mold. Make it a couple of millimeters larger as it tends to shrink a little bit during baking, and freeze again until ready to bake. The crust though is optional, but it helps to strengthen the cake, especially in this configuration. In order to keep it flat, bake pastry sandwich between two parchment papers or baking mats and trays, and bake for about 20 minutes. Next in the agenda, ladyfingers. Well, you can definitely purchase them, but quite frankly, there is nothing better than the real deal, isn't it? Alright, so I'm going to start beating the room temperature egg whites with a pinch of cream of tartar, which is an egg white stabilizer. You can sub it with a few drops of lemon juice instead. And I'm going to add a quarter of the sugar needed for the recipe and lower mixer speed and let it run as long as you need. And when ready to go, and add remaining sugar gradually. And you're going to end up with this beautiful firm Pix meringue. Add egg yolks straight to the meringue and mix until just combined. Amazing texture, look at that. Now you want to fold in the sifted powders. By the way, I like to use a spider skimmer. This way the starch incorporates faster, preventing from deflating the mixture too much. So, since we are making a Yule log, I'm gonna turn this mixture into a beautiful sponge sheet. Keep in mind that ladyfinger's biscuit or sponge, also called in French biscuit cuillère, is not meant to be used for cake roll. It would rather break. It is not the purpose of this cake anyway. So spread ladyfinger's mixture over a lightly greased parchment paper or a baking tray and pop in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 205 degrees Celsius for about 12 minutes. Cool off and freeze the whole thing overnight. Now look at how easy it is to unmold. Un jeu d'enfant. So I'm gonna make a couple of cuts for the Yule log, and you want to save the leftover for another dessert. Just like those adorable tiramisu cannoli. Coming up soon. Yet, pretty much every cake can be turned into a Yule log, and as long as the flavor and texture mingle beautifully, you are good to go. In this matter, I'm gonna make a coffee gel insert based on espresso and one of the alcohol used in tiramisu. The most commonly used spirits are Marsala, Madeira wine, rum, amaretto, or coffee-flavored liqueurs. So first, I'm gonna make a coffee extract from scratch by reducing espresso with a bit of sugar. Then I'm gonna add more coffee, Kahlúa liquor or any other alcohol you prefer and the one you can find. Then I'm going to throw in there the agar-agar mixture, which is a thickener, bring to a boil and cook for a couple of minutes. Cool off on ice water and refrigerate. Meanwhile, I'm going to craft a 1-inch, 2.5 centimeter diameter plastic tube using acetate cake color. And use one of these finally useful saved cardboard tube. Seal one end with some tape and set aside. You know, sometimes you have to be the MacGyver in the kitchen. Alright, so now the coffee gel is completely set. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to turn this into a smooth textured gel. Fill up the prepared tube and freeze overnight. And with the help of a long wooden spoon, extract the frozen coffee gel cylinder from its tube. Great news, I'm going to show you another alternative to make your coffee gel insert. Simply use your silicone mold in order to create this half-moon shape coffee gel insert. Freeze and demold. So now I am going to take care of the tiramisu filling. So I'm going to mix together the mascarpone and heavy cream to soft peaks. Keep an eye on it, it won't take that long. Perfect. As you can witness, it's pretty soft. This is exactly what you want. Alright, so now I'm going to clean the mixing bowl and I'm going to make the pâte à bombe, sabayon. Well, the making process of the sabayon is actually quite different than the pâte à bombe. Pâte à bombe is made more like you would make an Italian meringue, like preparing a hot sugar syrup, exactly what I'm gonna do right now, and you cook to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, 120 Celsius, and you add it to the beaten eggs. In this case, I'm using egg yolks and eggs. So when you deal with a small quantity, you want to pour the hot syrup by hand. It prevents splashes of cooked sugar to form all around the edges of the mixing bowl and beat on full blast until fluffy and cool. Add melted gelatin, mix that up quickly and incorporate the room temperature pâte à bombe into the mascarpone mixture. Finish with a whisk and you should end up with this to die for mascarpone mousse. As shown earlier, I'm going to build this cake using a basic Yule log silicone mold you can actually find online pretty easily. So this recipe yields 14 to 16, so feel free to make extra dessert cups. Fill the mold about halfway with mascarpone filling and coat both sides of the mold with a spatula to ensure flawless results. And place the first sponge in and soak it in coffee punch. Be generous, no dry spots should be forgotten. That's the purpose of the tiramisu, just like the French opera cake, remember? Cover sponge with more filling, and now you want to tuck in the frozen coffee gel cylinder we've made earlier. How cool is that? Add more mascarpone filling and then the last sponge and more of the coffee punch and stick in the chocolate crust. And freeze the Yule log overnight. Next, I'm gonna make a chocolate glaze, which is basically a ganache. It's totally optional though, you can skip it and finish your tiramisu log with dusted cocoa powder instead. So I'm gonna pour the hot cream with honey in the bittersweet chocolate. Let it sit a couple of minutes and blend well. Now the fun. Demold frozen cake and put it back in the freezer until ready to glaze. Set chocolate glaze to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius, and glaze the log just like so. Remove excess glaze with a piece of acetate cake color. It works with plastic wrap as well. Then transfer la bûche de Noël onto a Yule log cake board and mark the glaze with a fork and dust with cocoa powder and place this beauty in a refrigerator overnight to thaw. I hope guys you have enjoyed this one-of-a-kind tiramisu Yule log episode. To get the full recipe and much more, go to my website brunoalbouze.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my website and cooking channel. Wishing you wonderful holidays. Ciao ciao. Ho, ho, ho.